Big Drive Energy live first December episode for us. Feels weird talking about all this golf when I'm looking outside and I've shoveled the house goddamn 3 times today. There's snow falling down. It's December, but we've got a lot to talk about in the golf world. We got the skins game. We've got, of course, some new drivers hitting the market. This is the time of year where you prepare for your next season. You spend too much money on clubs that aren't really going to help you out, and you feel good about it until you get out on the golf course and then decide you need to do it again next fall. The skins game, Xander Schauffele, pretty hilarious to come out of that. Massive payday for him. We're going to talk about some big data golf movers from 2025, some interesting golf holes, the TGL kind of firing itself back up, and then we're going to talk the Hero World Challenge and give you guys some of our red hot gambling picks. Those are back because what's better than betting on like a 25-person fucking Hero World Challenge hosted by none other than Tiger Woods. All right, let's tee it up. Big Drive Energy Wednesday. Oh no, I froze already. That's fucking dude. This
Your
is
Wi-Fi
so
is hot.
frustrating. I don't know if it's my Wi-Fi has an issue, and maybe it's the snow. That could very well be it. But I've done multiple meetings and calls, and now a podcast this morning, and now this podcast, and my computer is quite literally as close to my Wi-Fi router as it could possibly fucking be. It cannot be any closer. I mean, it's a foot away from my Wi-Fi router. You know, when I go into my room, unfortunately, which is across the other side of the house, my bedroom, sometimes my phone will just pop up 5G, and I'm like, fuck's sake, man. It's 2025. Can we not get Wi-Fi that just... And somehow I get it in my garage. Like, that's why the Wi-Fi router is in the spot it's in, because it was close to the garage, and the old guy that put in the router was like, yeah, if you want Wi-Fi in the garage, this is where it's got to be. It's like, cool. Whatever, but now I do things in this room with the Wi-Fi router touching my shit, and I'm still getting fucking jumpy stuff, and it pisses me off.
Oh, dude, Wi-Fi is the number one letdown thing of things that should work and just don't on a regular basis. I actually got a multiple text updates that our Wi-Fi went out in Denver, and it was out for like 2 days. Like, if we would have been there, they were like, oh, we'll have the outage solution, whatever. And then 2 days later, still nothing. So I'm glad I wasn't there, because otherwise I'd be having an absolute fit. Who is your Wi-Fi provider?
Quantum Fiber.
That's what we got too.
Yeah. I believe it's just CenturyLink, but rebranded into a new Wi-Fi. I'm pretty sure, right? Is that the case?
I think so. It's just everything's a fucking racket. It's all a joke nowadays.
Yeah, AT&T, we have our phones through AT&T, and they just keep hitting me up and wanting, because I went into the store to get new phones. And dude, let me tell you this. I feel like every time when you're just paying your bills and just being a good, loyal customer, not saying that these companies should proactively reach out. It'd be nice, but I don't, I've worked in business. I know it doesn't go like that. But I feel like every time I either call my insurance agent or my phone bill people, or there's a few others, I can get the bill cheaper by just doing certain simple things that I don't even use every single time. And I'm like, why is this? Why do I pay for this and just sit there and take it without asking why I'm taking it? And then you ask, and you're like, oh, it just goes down. They're like, oh, you got this discount and you can remove this. And I was paying for my cell phone, like a cell phone plan on my watch, my Apple Watch, which is great. I do have a cell phone enabled watch that's supposed to work without a phone, but it's never worked without the phone in my life. And so I was like,
pay like $12 a month for nothing.
Correct. And so I went in the day I bought my new car. I went in and bought a new car, got that payment down, got my internet payment down, and my phone payment down, because I went and got a new phone the same day, or ordered a new phone, and then talked to the AT&T people, got my phone bill down. And then that same day, I also had to get new insurance on the new car. And so that's when I called my insurance agent, and he ended up hooking it up with more discounts, saved me another 100 beans a month on that. So I had a red letter day a couple of Fridays ago, just saving money every which way I looked.
Patrick Star, you're one smart shopper.
And I ate
Speaking
Del
of,
Taco for lunch that day, by the way. That was fucking.
oh, that is the bottom of the barrel, just absolute dog shit. I would take Arby's over Del Taco, but those chicken Chipotle, like $2 tacos, I remember eating those in high school. Absolute gas.
Yes, dude. That's what my my mind was telling me. I was driving by the Del Taco and I thought about that chicken Chipotle taco, and it just sent me into another world. This is going to send me on another tangent real quick. How do you feel about ordering like fast food places now? You just order on the screen. I think it's incredible. I love it.
Wait, Del Taco like drive-through? You just order on the screen?
No. When you go in, I went in and sat and ate by myself, dude. I fucking love doing that.
Like the Joe Flacco quote he goes, when I was younger, I used to think that guys eating alone was the saddest thing ever. Now I know that dude is in heaven. Like there is nothing better than taking yourself out to lunch, sitting there with your AirPods in and iPad kidding that shit, either watching like or listening to a podcast or whatever, and just getting down, not a person to bother you. And I don't even have kids, so I have way less than you deal with. Like I'm sure that lunch by yourself is just the mecca.
Oh yeah, dude. I sit there like Steven Glansberg and just stare at the wall and just eat my sandwich very slowly and love every second of it. I went to Firehouse Subs the other day, your recommendation. And
so good. I think it is the best sub place. I think it's top Jimmy John's. I do probably prefer Jimmy John's bread, but I think overall just sub quality, I don't think there's a better quality sub than Firehouse. Like that shit. And I will say Jersey Mike's is up there as well. But
I was going to say, have you been to Jersey Mike's? Are you a Jersey Mike's fan? Because my wife right now, it's the club sub. I think dude, oh, here's another thing. All right. When you go to places consistently, fucking be part of the rewards. She has bought 1 million club subs this entire pregnancy. And I finally we went on a little lunch date one day that she was off school and I came from work. And then we met at Jersey Mike's, and I'm like, enter your rewards number. You go here literally 3 times a week. She's like, I don't have one. And I almost wanted to just leave. Fucking get the rewards. Like everything I do, I'm in rewards, dude.
Yeah, but there's 8 million things to be rewards in, and you download this app. Like I have the Kava app, which is actually surprisingly very convenient. Firehouse is one that I have not signed up for, but I should. Probably Jersey Mike's as well. Like I don't need rewards because that's just going to encourage me. They get you sucked into this cycle. This is what Big Sandwich doesn't want you to know, is that you get the rewards and then you're like, well, only 2 more till a free one. I'm going to go back the next, like Starbucks. I get updates from the Starbucks app and they're like, oh, get extra stars, which is just the lamest shit ever. Like I don't need extra. Yeah. I pause for a second. I don't need extra stars, but they're like order 4 times in the next 4 days and you get this many stars. And it's like a quarter of a drink's worth. Like, oh, I get to save $2 by buying 4 $7 coffees. What a deal. I am going to run to Starbucks for that. Also, I got a sugar cookie latte this morning. Definitely not sugar cookie at all. Just latte. Like it was just straight up coffee and milk. There was no sugar cookie in there. So that was disappointing. Like the seasonal drinks hit different for me. So I just am a little disappointed when they just totally fucked that $7 coffee up, which is pretty standard. I had a question for you because I met with one of my accounts just today for lunch. Shout out my boy.
Oh,
Jeff.
You're working. Wow.
Oh yeah. I occasionally from time to time I dabble in what we would call work, and it was just a lunch of Mexican food and talking about football, and then a little bit of golf. But there's so many country clubs now so Jeff he's at Newton Country Club. He does his own buying because he actually owns the pro shop, which I actually think is pretty genius. And I wish when we did that, we would have quote unquote owned the pro shop and funded it ourselves and made that money, because that is truly a great incentive for club pros. And it's a great way to offset a club pro's income, because then you don't quote unquote have to pay him as much because they're making the profit on the pro shop. But
I don't think the golf course we worked at was worried about if they were paying us too much or not.
Oh yeah,
I don't think that was a concern.
They wanted to figure out how they could pay us as little as possible for literally everything. But he does his own buying, and we did our own buying. There's still, and I guess it just depends on the place, but I've noticed out here in New Jersey, a lot of the higher end country clubs have an individual person that is literally just the buyer for the pro shop, and that is like their singular job. I personally think that's pretty nuts. Like I have a meeting with a Morris County Country Club on Friday, which is actually, ironically enough, like 5 minutes away from here. And of course that I really want to get out and play. So I'm definitely going to get I already have like a connect or two out there, but I definitely want to solidify that on Friday while I meet with their buyer. And all these buyers are women, which I have no problem with. But I guess the question I'm going with here is, do you feel like, and I think I already have my own answer, but I'll let you answer first because that's just the nice guy that I am. Do you think that women in like their 20s or 30s are more tapped into like men's fashion than like club pros in say their 40s or 50s?
I think it's pretty close. I think it would take a year, but I really do think fashion in general is very much, you kind of put the onus on the company that makes the clothes. You know what I mean? Like I don't see too much when I was doing all these visits with like Oakley and Pins and Aces. I mean, it was an easy sell of most of the head covers and stuff, but all these different clothing brands that would come in, I'd have a general idea of the budget and what I was going to spend and what I wanted, how many shirts, how many pieces, how many pants, bottoms, socks, stuff like that. But I don't know. I see where you're going with that. But I also don't think the 40 or 50-year-old club pro is very in tune with or caught up to the habits of their customers at this point in the golf world. Like the golf world has changed so much in the past 5 to 10 years, especially the last 5 with COVID, where the clientele of the golfer wants more Pins and Aces stuff. And to me, I guess it just depends upon your membership too. There's some places where, like when we played Bear Creek, I didn't look too extensively in the pro shop, but you just play the hits with like Peter Millar, FootJoy.
They actually did have Pins and Aces in that shop, but I think being a Colorado, I do think being Colorado local, it makes it a little different because there's so many courses that want to carry it simply because it's a Colorado brand. So they obviously have a little bit, but yeah, absolutely. That is where I would say the typical higher end country club is bringing in more classics. Like you said, the $120 polos, that's what their membership is looking for. Very horizontal stripes, very basic. There's going to always be a section of a little bit more exciting shirts, but overall it's a lot more basic, muted, low-key type of colorways and stuff. But the one thing I think I will say is, in general, I think women are much more thoughtful than men. So I think when it comes to like a member guest, if there's a theme, then for instance, the buyer at Morris County Country Club, she's hosting a ladies event next year that's like a mimosa theme, and we have a mimosa head cover. Now, I don't think that a dude if there was a theme, would be like, oh, let's, find a head cover with. And also I would just say in general that dudes don't do themes at golf tournaments. They're like, here's our theme. Let's go get shit faced and play 3 days worth of golf and try to win the thing. Like that is the one difference between men and women. Is women, there's always a theme. But from like a sales perspective, like Pins and Aces does so much different stuff like that I'm like, yeah, I've got a mimosa head cover. Yeah, you have this coming up that you want like airplanes on it. We can do airplanes. Like we can do anything custom. Like I don't give a shit. Yeah, put dinosaurs. I mean, we have dinosaurs.
I have a dinosaur polo. Hell yeah.
And it's pretty gas. But I'm just saying that women are much more thoughtful in like gift giving, I would say, in general, and buying for a specific theme than men are like, yeah, I like that. I like that. It's much more simple. But at the end of the day, do you think would you rather your wife buy clothes for a pro shop or you buy clothes for a pro shop? Let's
I
put it
think
that way. If you both knew the membership equally.
if we both knew, I think it would be me. I would choose me.
Well, you're like a fashionista though. You have more clothes than your wife. So that was probably a poor example because your closet is an entire room.
Yeah. Yeah, I think maybe I'm out maybe I'm missing, I'm just too into myself on this certain topic, but I really do believe that I was a generationally good buyer for the pro shop.
Generationally good.
And the only time I got sucked in is when I really liked the rep and then started buying extra shit. Like I spent too much in most of those meetings, but for the actual product that we got at the golf course, like with different price points and different I think companies kind of just set you up for success at this point. Like they make the clothes, you just pick a few shirts here or there that you like, and I feel like I did a pretty good job of that. But
I would agree.
I do think that there's, I don't know. I think you were kind of leading me with that question, and I took the lead and went the wrong way. You're basically saying that these women are better buyers than men, extensively.
Well, so what I will say is I just generally think it's outrageous that they employ like somebody's full-time job is just to buy for the pro shop. Now, that probably is a pro shop that's selling $400,000 to $500,000 of merchandise every year. So that I guess is then different. You're able to employ that, but just thinking about a random golf course having like talk about the coolest job in the world. You just go find cool shit and put together custom designs and stuff like that for golf tournaments. Like unbelievable job. That would be sick. But I think where I would draw the line is maybe these more old school clubs, generally they have, and a lot of generalizations. If I say generally one more time, I'm going to generally jump off my patio. But I think that a lot of the older membership places that have probably seasoned pros, they want the buyer to be a younger person who is more tapped in. And I just think it kind of goes to show how much of a younger person's game golf is becoming. And there's always going to be a place for the retired people. Like that's who golfs the most. That's unless you don't have a job or whatever. But retired people are generally going to golf the most. But I think country clubs are now starting to skew more to include the younger people. There's always going to be the Peter Millar, and even Peter Millar's got some fire designs. Like I've got a couple of shirts from Desert Forest and a couple of shirts down that I got in Arizona, like Peter Millar, Johnny O, that have like cool designs. They're obviously not pins and aces in your face, like popping. But there's always going to be a place for that type of stuff in the shop. But now I feel like even those old school places are skewing crazier designs, and even like older people are getting into the more fun designs. Golf is not this pleated khakis and a horizontal striped shirt anymore. There's more. I had a dude, one of my accounts last year was like, I need like, can you do like 100 Pink Panther shirts for this dude's tournament? They call themselves the Pink Panthers for a reason I am not sure of. But it's just like a whole group of older dudes that are all wanting to wear Pink Panther shit. So I think the direction of golf clothing in general is just changing. And a lot of the old school brands are having to kind of accommodate to that, even like your FootJoys, and FootJoy makes clothes for themselves basically because they make so much money off the golf ball that it really doesn't matter. Obviously FootJoy Titleist connected, but yeah, I just thought that was interesting because more and more, and it's even harder for me to connect with these people because I reach out, they don't generally have their buyer listed on their website. So if I reach out to their pro, and if they get back to me, sometimes they'll send me to the buyer or whatever. But I just thought that was an interesting thing how it feels like the golf industry is somewhat changing in that manner.
Yeah, well, I feel like we're just a few years away from, in other sports right now, when you really release the retro jerseys or the old school jerseys, everybody's like, "Oh my God, these are so gas." I think we're old enough now to the point where we're 30, 30 and 31, about to be 32, which is crazy to think about. But we're at the point now where in 4 to 5 years, they're going to release all the old FootJoy, just one stripe across two different color polos, and everybody's going to be like, oh shit, look at this. Like, you know, like we're so close to that point already of a full cycle of where that was cool. And now, you know, Pins and Aces obviously does a miraculous job of it, but everybody and their mother has to get into some sort of a prints and doing them differently, or doing drinks, or doing this or that on the shirt. And then it'll get to a point where that's no longer, like, certain people are just ingrained in that, just like certain people are ingrained in their FootJoy shirts and their, you know, Peter Millar, just basic striped polos. But I think that'll come to a point where that shit will be like, wow, that's so fucking cool again.
I agree. And I actually had this thought on the topic of mimosas, like doing an event that's centered around mimosas and having mimosa head covers. If you're at a club, like, this is genius, and I should start doing this with my accounts. If, say, just Colorado Golf Club was the first place that popped into my mind because they have the paintbrush cocktail. If you're at a club that has a house cocktail that's like known, how sick would that be to have it on a head cover? Like, I would absolutely, if I was a member. Do they have a specific drink at Inverness?
I don't know. I'd have to. Next time I go to the bar, I'll scope it out. I'll try all of them and see.
Yes,
they actually do have. I don't think they have a signature drink, but I do think they have, which is not normal unless you go to like a Fuzzies, but I think they have a couple of beer mosas, or like things where it's a fucking whatever, frozen margarita mixed with a beer or something like that, like at a Fuzzies. I'm pretty sure I had one the last time we were there when we were with the Cellas. I'm pretty sure we had.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I got arrested years ago was due to frozen margaritas from Fuzzies. So that's you're bringing up old wounds there, but
tough subject for you.
Tough subject, but I just goes to show you how much I love them. But honestly, how genius would that be to have your club's drink on a head cover? That's pretty. And it kind of is marketing for the drink. It's like, I am just a marketing whiz. Apparently, I just concoct these ideas in my head. But I think that would be something very cool. And if I was a member at a country club and they had a house cocktail that I liked, I would 100%. That's like an inside baseball thing. You know what I mean? Where if you saw somebody who was a member at CGC and they had the paintbrush with like a cocktail head cover, and you don't know what that, like, the normal person would be like, what is that? But if you played CGC and drank a paintbrush, you're like, oh shit, that is fire. So that, I actually think that's kind of a pretty cool thing that I just thought of. I don't mean to keep patting myself on the back here, but.
Well, maybe now you just need to adjust your sales strategy and go into every place and just hit the bar and see if they have a signature drink before you go meet with the buyer or the pro and be like, hey, or you just start, you know, throwing it out there, because Pins and Aces, I'm sure, I don't know what your work process is like, but I'm sure you could get those made, you know, 100 of them or whatever pretty easily with the logo. Yeah. And so you could start just creating those yourself, and then you just create your own dynasty, and we quit doing this shit and we fucking create head covers.
That would be sick. Or I just somehow, we can talk about that offline, because I have no idea how the logistics. I'm not a logistics guy. I think if you've listened to this podcast long enough, you know that I am everything else. Spencer sets the podcast up. Spencer is the logistics. He handles the ins and outs, the graphics, which are just phenomenal, might I add. He is our producer. I am not a producer. It takes me enough just to open this file and get on video. So I'm an ideas guy. You're an execution guy. So I'm going to stick with the ideas. You worry about the execution. We go from there.
Yeah, I like that. All right. Speaking of execution, we want to execute the rest of this podcast. See that bridge I just built?
I'm in on that.
Do we want to talk about any football, any life changes, anything going on other than this fucking snow that dude, like, I like snow, but this is kind of a lot. And my shoveling my hand injury has come back. I'm afraid that my hand injury will still be prevalent starting my 2026 golf season. So I may go see somebody about this scenario here, because I started shoveling today. I shoveled once at 6:30 in the morning. We parked my wife's car in the garage, which was electric. We got that bad boy in the garage, so we didn't have to do any And he now my couch in the garage is all fucked up though, so it kind of sucks. It had to be, her car's so big that now the couch is like diagonal in order to fit the car in there, which I didn't think was the
Could you
case.
not have like parallel parked it in the garage to like fit it like horizontally rather than pulling it in
Yeah,
vertically?
theoretically yes, but there's a lot of shit on the other side because it's all our storage for, like, all our Christmas boxes are out. She's been going through all the baby stuff and
The amount of Christmas
reorganizing it.
boxes that your wife has is, I mean, she does have a lot of her like family heirloom collectibles, but it is jarring. Like
Yeah,
at
she's
one
got
point
that
when we
whole
shared a
village.
storage, yeah, at one point when we shared a storage unit, I think half of it was just your wife's Christmas decorations that are
Yeah,
now in your garage.
yeah. There's a lot of them, but they're not going to go up ever at this house. That's the thing. This house is not big enough for a fucking Christmas village. When I
You
move
could
into a
just take your
mansion,
entire kitchen island and cover it in the just make a Christmas village and be like, we can't eat here for an entire month. But that would be pretty gas, like a little fake grass, fake snow, make the whole
yeah,
town.
do like levels, layers up, and have it like go up and up and around that.
Yeah,
That
like a
would
little
be kind of
town.
cool. But
It would be
I've
very
put up
cool.
enough Christmas shit that I already want to fucking end it. I already want Christmas to be over.
I do. Hey, I mean,
No,
I
I'm
feel
just
like
kidding. I'm actually really excited.
yeah, I mean, you have a 2-year-old kid, and I mean, I can only imagine with you having a child that this is the closest that being a kid at Christmas, this is as close as you'll get to feeling like a kid at Christmas, but you're just the one giving the gifts now. But it's still got to be like this ultra special feeling of, and you, I guess let's get into this. And hopefully Sawyer's not watching. Hopefully he's napping or listening to Miss Rachel. But how hog wild do you go for a 2-year-old at Christmas? Like what are the guidelines? Because he has so much shit already, and you guys buy him stuff all the time that like where do you draw the line?
Well, that's the thing is we don't really get him a ton for Christmas. We got him a few kind of big things, and then there's of course like the Tony box you guys got, and like there's like replaceable things. You can get more Tonys, and he always is more clothes is always a good thing for him, and then we'll end up going to the next kid. So I think we actually don't go that crazy. I think Kylie already handled basically all of his Christmas, and then one of my my work friend Dwayne, he's got, I haven't told Kylie about this yet. He's got this fucking horse that it fucking bounces, and it's like big, and it's
Is
like
it one of those
where,
horses that has like springs on it that you can
I
like bounce?
think I think so, yeah, and you can like do tricks on it. You can get crazy, and
That sounds
so
like a garage activity.
no, he's giving that to me. Yeah. So I'm going to put it in the garage, but that's also going to be one of Sawyer's like Santa gifts, is like walking him down to the garage, and then he can hop on this horse and go do tricks on it.
Uh,
And it doesn't cost me anything.
Him, yeah, I mean, that is genius. And I think collectively as a whole, people should just pass down their kids' stuff to other families and just take a community of people, because buying stuff for kids feels like the most, not toys because toys stay around, but clothes, they just gone in 3 to 4 months. And it feels like the most pointless thing to buy a child clothes. Um, but I will say that your son driving his car in the garage sends me up a wall when I'm trying to watch TV. And he has not gotten the reverse and the forward and the turn function down yet. He's a terrible driver as a 2-year-old. So I just want to make that known. But when we're trying to watch football, there's been a few times where I'm like, I got to go inside because Sawyer's just driving me up a wall, backing into me. I'm just trying to sit there. My team suck. I'm sweating out a loss or a win. And Sawyer's just like, Uncle Miggs, reverse, fucking running into me, spinning out his wheels. We actually did get a little snow out here the other day, and I wouldn't necessarily call it snow. Like it didn't really stick necessarily, but they called a snow day out here yesterday, and all it did was rain. And the only reason I knew it was a snow day, like I don't wake up and watch the news or anything.
I was going to
But
say, what are you checking the ticker and waiting for your school to be called?
I know that talk about a top 5 all-time feeling of just waiting to see your school pop up. But I was picking up Missy's friend from the airport, who's a teacher, and she was like, "Yeah, they closed school today." And I'm like, "Really?" It wasn't great out by any means, but apparently they've had in the last 25 to 30 years, they've had 2 storms out here that have been like 20 to 30 inches of snow. And as you can imagine, the traffic out here is already a complete joke. So if they get 6 inches to a foot of snow, I guess the last time it was like 2019, I guess they got a huge storm out here. It was taking people 6 to 7 hours to go 10 miles. Like people were just straight up getting out of their cars on the highway and leaving them and walking because they could not get anywhere. So I think they do pull the trigger a little early on stuff like that out here, but still I mean, could you imagine getting a snow day and you can go outside and all it's doing is raining? Like that just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's a precautionary thing, but I think like they didn't call snow day today, and they probably should have. The roads were, in terms of traffic and people going, 30 miles an hour for, everybody's late. It's just a clusterfuck. It's a lot easier if you can just keep kids out of school. I basically doesn't affect me at all. I didn't essentially leave the house today because I didn't have to, but yeah, I do think it also, that take may change once Sawyer's in fucking like first grade, and I'm like,
you're like, get this kid back to school.
Yeah.
Get this kid in class. That's as a parent, I can imagine that would be greatly beneficial. Real quick, fantasy football, you had a devastating loss this week that knocked you out of playoff contention. And what'd you lose by 0.4 of a point?
0.9, I think was the final total. It was under a point. That league, I'm so butthurt.
I think you hosed me because if you would have won, that would have like boosted me up because whoever you were playing would have knocked them down. So I think you effectively hosed both of us with that loss. And I'm going into this last week in this one league, in our brothers league, and half of my team is on bye. So I'm just up shit's creek. But we actually might end up being the worst brother duo this year, which, I mean, nobody does any of the punishments. Like this is the third year, and we still have yet to have two duos of brothers do their punishments, albeit they're pretty outlandish because I am the commissioner and I do set the boundaries. So, I mean, maybe I'll just give us a soft one. Maybe I'll give us a little weaker punishment this year, but it's devastating to me. There is one other league that we're both in together that I'm actually the number one seed and I feel pretty good about, but I don't feel good about any single team that I've had this year. So it's just a retool, rebuild. Basically, we're on to Cincinnati. I've moved on. Besides the one league, I'm on to next season in all my other leagues, which is pretty much a bummer. But on the other side of that, I'm actually pretty stoked to just focus on one playoffs. I'm going to definitely hit the waiver wire, really get in there and do some research. So it allows me to just put my focus on one as opposed to my many managerial duties that I've had to partake in this last 3.5 months.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I think I'm making the playoffs. I'm in 5 leagues, and I think I'm making the playoffs in 4 of the 5. The one brothers league, which I think the most devastating part about that is when I have a shit team and it's just not going well for the whole year, I can live with that. I can live with a bad draft or season-ending injuries, things like that. But I was 5-1 in that league and lost 7 fucking weeks in a row. That is completely devastating. I was first place in the league through 6 weeks. And I was like, I remember some of the texts I was sending, just out-of-pocket shit to the group. And now I'm fucking missing the playoffs. And I saw that E next to my team, and I was like, holy shit, I've fallen so far.
We should call you Josh McDaniels, basically. You come out guns hot, and then you completely fall apart.
Yeah, that's what I did. I Josh McDaniels that fucking team. But all my other leagues, I'm in the playoffs pretty firmly. So I gotta have a strong week this week, and then I'm good. But I think one of the real big kickers of this whole scenario is Jamar Chase got suspended for 1 game for Spitgate at the fucking worst time for me because I was a big Jamar Chase guy. I had him on a couple teams. Like he gets suspended last week or 2 weeks ago.
The worst possible time.
Yeah, exactly. Like completely hosed me, and then I've made some bad roster decision or bad start sit decisions, which that really torques me off. Where if I would have flipped one guy, I would have won the matchup, and that was how it went for me on Monday night, and the fucking Patriots housing a kickoff and all that. Drake May couldn't save me. He hit me a parlay though. Hit me a little parlay. I'm kind of cooking on the books right now. I've hit multiple parlays in a row. I had only put in one bet last night in the Avs game because I fucked up and waited too long, and I just hammered the goal in the first 10, and the Canucks scored in like 3 minutes in. I was like, easy money.
How much money did you bet live the other night? Was it fairly sizable on the Dallas Mavericks because the Nuggets are just abysmal at home right now?
It was fairly small, but it was plus 1,000. So I mean, I made a couple $100, but it wasn't like I bet if I would have bet my whole account on it, I'd be in a fucking Bahamas today. I wouldn't be here doing this pod.
Yeah, that's that honestly, I feel like a lot of sports books, especially obviously the big ones, the legal ones, they get when a team in the NBA has a 10 to 12 or 14 point lead, all of a sudden the odds are like minus 4,000 for the winning team and plus 10,000 for the losing team. Like they're baiting people into putting money on the team that's down double digits. And if you know a team well enough, like the Nuggets, where they've been terrible in the third quarter lately and they haven't been able to close games, especially at home, then that's just you're just dialed in. You have your ear to the ground. You really know what's going on and you're able to capitalize on that. I just have never had the balls to like ride a trend like that. Like I tried to bet against the Rockies every game last year and I got like 5 or 6 games in and they won like 2, but their money lines were so bad that I like in the other direction, the other team was favored so heavily. I'm like, this is a fool's errand here. Like a losing proposition. And then come to find out they have the worst season in league history. And I probably should have just written it out, but I just am not consistent enough to actually like system bet, or I'm just an all vibes guy. That is pretty much how I ride out my golf game, my gambling at the bar. It's not how many drinks have I had. It's like, how much fun am I having? Like, I don't count, there's no numbers involved. So, and it's served me well in some areas and not so well in other areas. So here we are.
Here we are. All right, let's get into this. Let's start with the Skins game on Friday. You forgot that it was on at a certain time early in the morning. Like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday was just such an elite 4 days of sports. Thanksgiving and the fucking NFL games that were on were just incredible. Did you see the numbers from that Chiefs Cowboys game, by the way?
Yeah, it wasn't like 40 million people.
57 million people. It was the most watched NFL game by 36% in the history. And somebody quote tweeted it with like, sorry, Chiefs, looks like you're going to be playing on fucking Thanksgiving for the next 10 years or whatever it is. But yeah, just an electric matchup. All the games on Thanksgiving were great this year. And then Friday, you hopped into the Skins game, and pretty hilarious in the Skins game. Xander Schauffele with the $0 check. I watched a good amount of it. What did you think? It didn't seem to have, I don't know, it didn't seem to have the juice that I had hoped it was. Maybe it was the guys in it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Shane Lowry isn't much of a talker. Ironically, he did take a shot at Keegan Bradley, saying that I've just broken his heart every day or constantly for the last 3 months, discussing the Ryder Cup, obviously. So that was kind of a broadside at Keegan. He didn't deserve that, although he was an all-time bad. Right there was Zach Johnson, an all-time bad Ryder Cup captain. And I didn't have that in the notes, but I want to discuss the greenskeeping thing at the Ryder Cup because that's an interesting little tidbit. But I definitely think Keegan is a good watch. I don't know why Justin Thomas didn't play in it. Maybe they felt like he had some sort of competitive advantage because he designed the place or helped design the place. But I guess Xander Schauffele is a member out there, and as everyone has seen on social media, he made a check for $0. He lost everything. And it was kind of vindication because I had to bet on Xander Schauffele at the end of this last year, and he was fucking dog shit. So I'm like, good, keep being dog shit. Don't just start playing good golf now. Although he did win some random tour event. Was that the tour event in Asia that they had or in Japan?
Oh yeah, it was like a month and a half ago.
Yeah, just the Zozo or something like that. But anywho, Xander looked like dog shit, and he's a member at that golf course, so he knows the course better. I think one of the players, maybe Keegan, who was the God? Now I'm blanking on the fourth player. Oh, it was Scott. Was it Scotty? No,
It was Keegan, Shane, Tommy Fleetwood.
Oh, Fleetwood, Tommy. I think it was Tommy's first time seeing the golf course. So Tommy literally had never stepped foot on the course, but him being such a good driver of the golf ball, you knew he wasn't going to have any issues because he just aims it somewhere and hits it somewhere. So not a problem there for him.
He
But
won the
Shane,
Bay Current Classic.
oh, the Bay Current. Okay, yeah, that tournament changes names all the time. But I think it just goes to show you how when these guys are not in mid-season form and they're in their quote unquote off season, how pedestrian these guys can look. Obviously, they're still their pedestrian is still 99% better than any +3 or 4 out there, but they don't look like the same guys that are out on tour just taking aim at every flag, making a shitload of birdies. So it wasn't as eventful as it could have been, like you said. I think there's quite a few pars to start out. The front nine was a lot of pars, but overall, still a fun event. Like they need to bring more of that back. And who knows? Like I think I hate focusing on the money aspect of it, but I think it actually matters. I think they need to each show up with a briefcase next time of their own $1 million. That's not some phantom like, oh, who sponsored this or that, or whose actual money is it? They each need to show up with a briefcase, $1 million cash in there, and put it on the line. And then it needs to be a thing at the end, like you're taking stacks home, this and that. It's no bank wire bullshit. I want to see the cold hard cash. That is golf gambling that I think has gone by the wayside. Is, oh, I'll Venmo you. Like, how much more it hurts to hand somebody $150 than it does to Venmo them $150. Like,
Oh yeah.
Cash just hits different. So I think they need to add that element of cash into it in the future. But I thought that Justin Thomas was pretty entertaining, talking, doing some, commentary. But also I want to get your thought on this because I've seen it a lot in Florida now, especially because there's so much land in Florida that is virtually uninhabitable. Like the Everglades, Central Florida, the middle of Florida. And these golf companies are buying shitloads of land for probably pennies on the dollar of what they would normally buy and making them golf destinations. Like Panther National, now they're building multi-million-dollar homes out in the middle of nowhere, Florida. But it's because they're around this elite golf course with a high-end membership and a great clubhouse, great amenities. Like, could you live out in the boonies if it meant that obviously you were living in a nice house, but then if you just had one country club that you basically, like, you're going out to dinner, it's there. You're going to work out, it's there. You're going to the sauna, it's there. Like, could you do that and live out in the middle of nowhere, or would you have to be close to some sort of civilization?
I don't know. Are you saying if I had like a job at the course, or if I just was playing, like if
Like if you just had money for no apparent reason, like you were a trust fund baby and you're like, oh, I want to be a member here, but there's nothing around it. Could you possibly like bend a little on where you live in order to be at a course that's like elite?
If it was an elite golf course, I think I probably would, but it'd be very hard for me. I'm very particular in where I live and what's close to me and what I can get to and what I can't. So
I know where you live now. Are you sure you're pretty particular on where you live?
Yeah, it's a good spot, you fucking asshole.
It's up and coming. It's a great area. It's
up and coming. That's the key.
that is the key. Equity already in pocket. No, but I was just curious because that's a lot of like Cabot Citrus Farms is like in the middle of nowhere in Florida. What is the other huge resort that I forget about? They have like a blue, a black, and a red course. I am just totally having a fucking brain fart here. But huge destination, like 45 minutes outside of Tampa. God, I'm just losing it. But there's a lot of these golf courses now popping up in Central Florida, and it is probably kind of the perfect land to build on because it's sandy. It's very easy to move. I mean, other than I don't know what kind of insurance policy they have on alligators coming out and fucking taking out construction workers, but other than that, it seems like it's a pretty like golf has just gotten so much more economically smart. People are buying like Rodeo Dunes, for example. That land was probably, I mean, not cheap, don't get me wrong, but definitely not expensive land. But they're making golf destinations as opposed to oh, this golf is convenient. It's right, it's in your neighborhood or it's right here. They're making places where people will go out into the middle of nowhere. Ballyneal is literally on the border of Kansas and Colorado. That might be the nicest course furthest from any city in all of America. And they still have a massive membership, partially because they can take helicopters out there or whatever. But it just frosts me that people are members at these places and they have caddies out there and they have people that work full time out there, and they don't, like, the town that they live in is like population 300. I cannot believe that golf is now turned into this thing where people drive 4 to 5 hours or take a flight and then drive 2 to 3 hours to just play a golf stream song. It just popped into my head. Never wrong, just late. But I just cannot believe that golf has turned into that. Like, golf used to be a game of convenience. Now it is like people love to be inconvenienced. They almost think it's better when it's harder to get there. Like, I don't want to spend 14 hours trying to get to a golf course. That's just not my idea of fun. So I could be wrong. It looks like you're about to fall asleep again on me. Are you with us here?
No, I'm here. I'm good. I'm chilling.
I just been rambling at this point. Probably. I just need to find a way to end the sentence.
No, it is true. Like, where, like, the thought of them building a world-class resort right by the Denver International Airport, if you've been to Denver, is a pretty jarring thought, to be honest with you.
Like a half hour north of it. It's not like next door. It's not super close, but it's a drive, and it's pretty shocking. Like you said, it is far from civilization.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about, you talked about Keegan Bradley. Let's talk about the Ryder Cup. We're still getting news from the Ryder Cup. So Justin Thomas was on the No Laying Up podcast, and I'm going to find this quote here, and basically had some comments regarding the Ryder Cup golf course setup and how that was going. And Justin Thomas said the grounds crew was arguing with them about green speeds mid-tournament. And so Rick Golf's Top 100 Rick, texted got the contact for a Bethpage turf staffer who worked the Ryder Cup and said, this is all of the text from the golf course staff to this exclusive writer, whoever, they didn't say this guy's name, but they can argue with numbers all they want, but these are concrete collected numbers and cannot be argued with. Data is data, not an opinion. Player perception is an opinion. There was 0 conversations between captains and the grounds crew during tournament week, and that is at the fault of Keegan. We would have welcomed him with open arms any day or any time. We were there 24/7 in parentheses, and only spoke to him directly once, weeks before the event. If there was a problem, it should have come from him in practice rounds. This is another great quotations, because you mentioned this, that they failed to play when they would have realized they didn't like the speed. They still lost, and they can't accept it. 2 months later, and the excuses keep rolling. The grounds crew wanted to win more than any player on that American team. Quite frankly, it meant more to the Bethpage staff in the state of New York than anyone else. Learn to practice and compete as a team, or JT will continue to scrap together excuses in 2026. So some pretty bullish comments from the grounds crew over there at Bethpage Black. And
I don't know if you know what the word bullish means, unless you're using it in a different term.
No, what does it mean?
Bullish means like you're high on something.
Yeah, he's high on his golf course and how it was. He's saying he's very like high on the fact that they didn't talk to him when Justin literally said that they were arguing with them. So somebody's wrong here. Somebody's lying.
Yeah, I don't know how credible that groundskeeping source is, because if that's true, that is insane. Like, that is, the news just keeps coming out that makes Keegan look worse and worse. And the Ryder Cup doesn't mean as much to me as it does some people. Like, some people live and die by the Ryder Cup. I do care about it, but not as much as the next guy. But it is like the thought. I just, hindsight's 2020, but how can you not play the back nine of a golf course that you're competing at in any of the practice rounds? Like, it is the most baffling thing. I've thought about it a dozen times since the Ryder Cup. It is truly like, there is no explanation for it. It is blasphemous. And then we hear that Keegan didn't talk to the greenskeeper. The greens were clearly on the slower side for what the US thought they should be, and nobody said anything. Like, there's got to be some sort of miscommunication here, because otherwise this just looks even worse than it already did. But the greens did look slow, and obviously the US team struggled on them. How it wasn't communicated it just frosts me. Like, I cannot wrap my head around it.
Yeah, and I don't know, maybe I'm oversimplifying it, but to me it seems like if they didn't talk to the greenskeeper or set the course up for a little bit of home field advantage, then that's a big L on their part, right? But to me, a lot of this is just like them trying to find an excuse for why they got their ass kicked on home soil. And I'm like, does the golf course really, like, it's not like they had to play two separate golf courses. It's fucking the same golf course. You just, like, if you thought you had such an advantage with your style of player and the way the golf course should be set up, then you should have made that very much a point to change the green speed or change the rough length or whatever it ends up being.
I think they were so focused on changing the length of the rough to make it basically non-existent that they forgot to make the greens fast, because hindsight's 2020 once again, but European players are so much more familiar growing up on slower greens, because all the greens in Europe have to be slightly slower in order for the wind to not move your ball all around these greens. So I would say your typical above average nice country club in say England or Scotland, the greens are probably rolling at a 9 to a 10, whereas in America, you go to a high end country club, the greens are like glass, they're a 13 or a 14. And so that obviously the green speed played into the Americans' advantage. But yeah, it's just sour grapes. I don't think that they should be making comments about Bethpage's staff, like blaming the maintenance crew is just an all-time bad move. And obviously the clap back at Keegan and Justin and the whole team makes them look 10 times worse anyway. So it was really a no-win to go out and say shit like that. Just take your lumps, take the beating like a man, and try to come back and compete in Europe in 2 years, even though historically that's a losing battle. But so, yeah, just a rough look for Justin, a rough look for the American team in general. Like, play a fucking practice round. How that is the most still, there is nothing logically in my mind. And when I was there, I'm like, they're not playing the back nine. And they didn't the day before that. Oh, and what do you expect to happen? Like, and there's the European team playing the back nine every day. Like, wow. And they were better on the back nine. It's just that it's not rocket science. It just is so frustrating.
Yeah. Well, let's transition a little bit into our biggest movers. So there's some big leaps in 2025, and this is from Data Golf. And these are guys that all hopped into, or, were basically, came from below 50 in the Data Golf rankings and hopped into the top 50 in the world. Starting out with a guy you've talked about a little bit, Marco Penge, going from 446 in the world to 43. Great season for him. Garrick Higo going from 312 to 44. Chris Gotterups up there at 29 from 245. Michael Torbjornsson, Rasmus Niergaard, Nikolai Højgaard, Jordan Spieth, ironically, making a jump on this list from 103 up to 27. It's going to be curious to see if he can, resurrect his career a little bit in 2026. Rico Hoey, I think I had a bet on him at some point, which we'll get to our bets for the Hero World Challenge. All right, maybe I played him in our one and done at some point, I think. Matt Fitzpatrick going from 57 to 10 was kind of crazy, because did Matt Fitzpatrick win this year?
Well, he won the final event of the DP World Tour season, so that makes a difference.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So winning...
he had some good finishes on the PGA Tour. I don't think he won on the PGA Tour. Let me double check that. But yeah, Matt Fitzpatrick had a really rough year last year. So good on him that he got back into some sort of form this year. But no, he had no wins. He had 5 top 10s in 21 events. So, he definitely didn't have a special PGA Tour season. I think he had some good finishes over on the DP World Tour, obviously winning their quote unquote tour championship, but kind of odd. And that just goes to show you, like, I guess Data Golf takes into account all points, not just world ranking points. So it is like a true. Do you think this is like an advanced stat, or do you think these things kind of lie to us? Because Garrick Higo at 44 feels like one of the most under the radar guys. He won like an opposite field. I think he won like the Sanderson Farms last year, or I don't know. I don't think I remember him having a great year. Obviously, Chris Gotterup had a very good year, winning the Irish Open, and then the what do you win right after that?
Didn't he win at Pebble Beach or no? Not
No,
Pebble Beach.
it was
but
over in Europe. It was 2 events in Europe. Did he win the British Open?
No. He was like second in that. Remember, he was like,
oh yes,
he
okay,
was like the one that lost the last couple of holes.
Yes, okay, but regardless, he had a very good year. But then like a guy like Marco Penge to make the jump from 446 to 43, I see that as more significant than a guy like Matt Fitzpatrick going from 57 to 10. I don't know how Matt Fitzpatrick is 10. And then Cam Young going from 60 to 14 kind of makes more sense, getting that first win under his belt and then having another good year. But I'm going to be real honest. I don't think I've ever seen Rasmus Niergaard make it one golf swing in my entire life. And that's probably on me. But the amount of Rasmuses and the something guards, I just can't, between all those names, there's a lot of like Danish players out there now, and I can't keep them all straight. So I can't even put a name to a face at that point. But yeah, pretty good list. And then the biggest losers, tell me a couple guys who you think that were the biggest losers this year, just off the top of your head.
I cheated a little bit and saw that Tony Finau was up there. Is Jason Day up there?
No, well, he's not one of the biggest losers.
So trying to think of somebody that was Xander Schauffele up there?
No, he still had a pretty damn good year. He didn't have a good year, but he was so high up that I don't think he could really move that much further down.
Yeah.
Sahith Theegala.
Yeah.
He went from 32 to 155, which is, he had a terrible year. I've talked about it multiple times on this podcast, and I will die on. His swing is not, he's gotten everything out of his swing that he possibly can, and it needs to change from a fundamental standpoint for him to consistently compete on the PGA Tour. Similar to, did I mention Matteo Manacero last week being like the best scrambler on the PGA Tour, and he finished like 155 on the FedEx Cup?
Oh, no, I don't think we talked about that.
Yeah, he led in multiple scrambling stats, strokes gained, and still did not get a PGA Tour card. So it just goes to show you, being good around the greens doesn't get you that far anymore. You got to fucking make birdies out there. Tom Kim had a rough year as well, went from 21 to 139. And for a dude that just felt like, hopefully this is kind of a sophomore slump. I know it's not actually his second year, but I think when Tom Kim is playing good golf, there's a lot of people that like to watch him. He puts asses in seats, for lack of a better term. So I hope he kind of makes a comeback, but he was just rough this whole year, and he played in a lot of events and just could not get it going. Brooks Koepka makes sense. He went from 45 to 159, pretty rough year. I would love to see him get it back. Obviously, Sergio Garcia went from 40 to 140. And the most surprising thing is, how was Sergio 40 at any point? That wasn't 15 years ago. Like, I did not know he was still playing that good at golf, but that just goes to show you my live knowledge. Sungjae Im went from 12 to 109. He had a bad year, which is kind of a bummer. Sungjae is another fan favorite, one of the most pure ball strikers. And I think his ball striking just went kind of in the shitter this year, did not have a good year. And then Mackenzie Hughes went from 38 to 119. So another pretty big move. But if you had to pick a name on that list, who would you say is like the most surprising?
I mean, I thought like Sungjae Im is probably the guy for me. Like, he used to be, I still remember that November Masters in 2020 where I thought he was going to beat Dustin Johnson, and he was so just balled out. And then he is it him or is it Tom Kim or both of them that just play in like every fucking event? Maybe he just kind of
Sungjae Im starts.
down.
Yeah, he plays almost every week, and it feels like Tom Kim plays almost every week. Those dudes are grinders.
Yeah, they're grinders, and they just fucking grinded their own wheels off this year, apparently. But yeah, Sungjae Im, I thought was just he's a guy that I pick to top 10 almost every week, or he's always
right?
like in my thoughts. I'm like, all
And
right,
I
that
think he
guy.
had like a couple top tens this year. Like he did not have a good year. And you brought up a name. So I saw this clip on this other golf podcast that's significantly bigger than ours. But they talked about how many they're gonna remain nameless just for this exercise. But they were talking about PGA Tour wins, who has the most PGA Tour wins since 2010. Can you just give me the top two? I'm not gonna ask for the top 10. Give me the most PGA Tour wins since 2010.
I'm guessing that they're both going to be not obvious. Are they? Are either of them obvious?
No, number
Or
one is obvious.
is it Rory?
Now I'm fucked up. I think it's Scotty. No, he is. It's got to be Rory. It is Rory. I think he's got like 26. Scotty, I think, is like third.
And is Dustin Johnson up there since you?
DJ's number two, which it is so hard.
Crazy.
Like the last 15 years, it just goes to show you how quickly a name can just disappear from the golf stratosphere. Because he was arguably a top 5 player of the 2010s, if not a top 3 player. Like he won majors or a major. He won a PGA as well.
Yeah, majors. He won a Masters.
Oh shit, he's got 3 majors. So he's an Open Championship away from a Grand Slam, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He won the PGA at Whistling. He won the U.S. Open at Chambers Bay, and then he won the Masters. Like Dustin Johnson might have low key like the best career of a dude that you don't talk about ever.
Yeah, and he has a win on the Live Tour. Remember, we were there for that. We were there the week that he won.
Oh, did
in
he?
Oklahoma?
Oklahoma?
I'm pretty sure he won that event. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but just a name that is. I think Dustin Johnson needs to be added to the lore, similar to like Tavon Austin, or where you just pull up his YouTube highlights, because DJ was in his prime, was one of the most electric, just brain dead out there, like a robot, just striping drivers 330, and it fades like 2 yards every time. And he just hit it so fucking good. And not a thought in his head, just, oh, go get up, hit the ball, do it all over again. But that guy in his prime was like peak, one of the top ball strikers I think I've ever seen. Like that dude, I remember a Golf Channel clip of him doing like when TrackMan was first kind of became a thing. He's like, oh yeah, I use it to practice my yardages. And he's like, yeah, they told me to hit 60 yards, and he hit 10 shots, and not a single one was between outside of 58 to 62 yards. Like he just, I don't know what it is. He doesn't have a brain otherwise, but when it comes to physical talent on the golf course, I might take that guy over just about anyone.
Yeah. And he had a run there where it was like, as he was coming up onto the PGA Tour, it was like one of the, one time we should do not an entire pod, but maybe just like a segment on the runs of the next Tigers, and like
that would be a great topic.
Like their 3 or 4 year run where you're like, yep, this guy's it. And I mean, it was fucking Anthony Kim, which he never made the actual run, but that was one of the guys. And then Dustin,
I'm
Rory,
sure a lot after what he put up his nose. Anthony Kim was running. It just wasn't a PGA Tour run. It was
something.
Problems.
Now he's back. He's back grinding. Before we get to What the Fuck Wednesday, which we do every single Wednesday, I definitely want to talk about the Hero World Challenge coming up this weekend. So this is a smaller field hosted by none other than Tiger Woods. And let me just say this. If Tiger comes back ever again, cherry on top of the cake, right? Greatest golfer ever. We can argue this on another pod, but greatest player ever, changed the game. What he's done for golf has been unimaginable. But the people that still think he's like going to try to play or going to compete just drive me crazy. They're so far up his asshole that they can't see the other side of the earth. Like it's crazy to me that people are like, oh, he did that press conference like 2 days ago. They're like, oh, his recovery's going a little slow. And it's like, dude, the dude's in his mid 40s and he's fucking cooked. If he even gets out there again and just plays a 4-day event and shoots 2 over par, 4 over par at the Masters, that's a win. This guy's never going to win again. Maybe this is clippable. Maybe this will be clippable in 2028. But like, the dude's not going to win again. He's not going to ever compete and be serious again on the PGA Tour. He's probably not going to play the Champions Tour because he's too proud for that, you would think. I mean, maybe.
I mean, it's just this day and age where everything is for clicks. Like, that's posting Tiger on a putting green gets more views than Scotty Scheffler. Or not, maybe not Scotty at this point, but some top 10, in the world tour than Matt Fitzpatrick hitting an iron shot at the US Open to win or whatever. Like, there's just so many more dudes out there that are so much better. And obviously, like you said, I do not think Tiger's ever coming back. He just got approved to putt. Like, I'm pretty sure my 90-year-old deceased grandpa could putt at any point in his life. Like, getting approved to putt now and to chip. I don't know how physically bad you have to be in order to get approved to putt and chip. Like, I'm pretty sure you could do that from a hospital bed. But yeah, it's just an engagement farming people. I mean, why do you think our cover of this pod was Tiger Woods? Because the algo, like, anybody that posts Tiger is going to do numbers. He could be doing anything or anyone, and it would do numbies. So that's just, I think, why he's so, people have just held on to his quote unquote relevancy for the clicks. And could you imagine Tiger in this day and age of social media? Like, if he was in his prime, he would be doing Kansas City Chiefs, Dallas Cowboys type numbers on the back nine at the Masters. Like, it would be generational. It obviously was already generational. And now social media and clippable things are just 20, 30 times bigger than they were then. So it's crazy to think about how big he would be this day and age if he was like on the come up right now. He would be he would probably be a fucking trillionaire. I mean, he's already a billionaire, but the money he would be making now would be absolutely insane.
Yeah, he would be, his X payment per month for his impressions would be off the fucking charts, and he may lead the PIP again. He may win the PIP again this year in 2025 just from his appearance and his press conference at the Hero World Challenge. The field, only 18 players in this field. Akshay Bhatia, Aaron Rai, Andrew Novak, Chris Gotterup, Harris English, Brian Harmon, Corey Connors, Sepp Straka, Wyndham, Hideki, Billy Horschel, Alex Noren, JJ Spawn, Sam Burns, Bobby Mack, Justin Rose, Cameron Young, Keegan Bradley, Jordan Spieth, and Scotty Scheffler. So that brings us to, I didn't do a graphic this week. We'll get a little more dialed in with the graphics once we get back to PGA Tour season. But who is your pick to win the Hero World Challenge? And I'll just be honest, I've been betting well the last couple of weeks, and not on golf, but well. So I'm taking Scotty Scheffler plus 140. I'm putting a bigger bet than I normally would on it. I know, lame. But he's played this thing 4 times. He's won it twice. He's going for a 3-peat, and he's got 2 seconds. I just can't argue with that.
I mean, he regularly beats full fields of PGA Tour players by a wide margin. Like, you take out 9/10 of the field. And by the way, this is the annual week where everyone's like, you get more world ranking points for the Hero than you do like the India Open happening this week or whatever on the DP World Tour. That's a full field event and there's 18 guys, just the rich get richer type shit. If you can get your way into this field, you're doing pretty well because you finish DFL. You're still getting more world ranking points than a dude probably finishing 25th on the DP World Tour this week. But I'm taking a flyer. I just got to have a little fun with it. I'm going Chris Gotterup. He's like the 3rd highest odds. He's plus 2,500. And I think there's only a couple guys above him at like Billy Horschel, who has no chance. Wyndham Clark, probably not. Like, Chris Gotterup did play this year relatively good golf. I don't know how much he's been hitting the sauce down on the Jersey Shore. I'm sure he partied his ass off this fall with football season. Rutgers actually had a decent football team, so I'm sure they're all making inaudible Italian noises with their gold chains and wife beaters on down there. But I still think that he's playing good golf. Why not take a flyer on him plus 2,500? So you're just the no fun league. You just bet Scotty Scheffler. Like, how creative.
Yeah, I did it, and I put a bigger bet on it. So I'm feeling good about it. I'm going to watch Scotty and just add to my gambling account for this week.
I think the day that Scotty's downfall happens is the day I actually bet on Scotty Scheffler to win a tournament. Because I am just that bad at betting that I think that'll be the day that he falls. And I'm not sure I'm ready for that. So I may just never do it because I want Scotty to continue this run. maybe when Scotty gets to 19 majors, I'll be like, time to bet on him. And that's when he's going to call it a career. He'll probably have 12 kids by then. He'll be like Phillip Rivers, just a gaggle of family of Schauffele's running around and all these majors, all these dubs, and then he'll just ride off into the sunset. So
yeah, just end his career there. We are going to end the pod with WTF Wednesday, as we always do. I'll start with mine because, as I mentioned a couple times, it finally snowed here, which is kind of great. I don't mind the snow. It definitely changes my schedule and kind of fucks things up. But, other than that, it's fine. But today, so I go to my garage to get my shovel out. And I was like thinking to myself, I was like, I know I have 2 shovels, like 2 pretty big ones, but I thought one was broken. And I was like, I thought I broke one. Like I bent it with some heavy ass snow last year. And so I pull one of the shovels out. I look at both of them, look at the handles, look at the shaft, if you will. And I'm like, oh, neither of these are broken. Good to go. And I do one push with this one and it fucking bends in half and like jars me right in the stomach.
Jams
you know how
in your
that
stomach.
feel? Yeah, you're like, oh.
Oh,
And I was like,
is
oh,
the
okay.
worst.
I was like, cool, this is the broken one. Fuck me. And then so I continue. I go get the other shovel. I continue shoveling. And then I get the wise ass idea. And I know this is going to happen. It happens to me every year. It used to happen to me a ton at Mom's. My old house didn't really have this scenario, but there's a tree with a lot of snow on it. I fucking hit it from below and just absolutely soaked myself.
Snow right
and
down your back.
Yep. And I didn't have my hood on. And I was like, God damn it. You know that's going to happen. Why did you do that?
It's like a moth to a flame. It's just, you see a tree with a bunch of snow on it. You gotta, I resorted at our mom's house to throwing the shovel at the tree, and then the tree would just gobble up that shovel like Spencer at second base fielding a ground ball. And then the shovel would be, and then I'd be like, I can't shovel anymore because my shovel's stuck in the tree, until it eventually then fell out the next day, and then I could get back to it. So maybe just throw your shovel at the trees.
Yeah, well, this tree, it's my back. It's not really a throwable scenario. It's not like a pine tree. It's a smaller tree in my backyard. And
that's not a pine tree.
No, I said it's not a pine tree.
Oh, okay. I thought you said it is. I'm like, that's no fucking pine tree.
No, it's not a pine tree. If I threw my shovel at it, and maybe I could throw it like a spear, and that might work. But if I threw it up kind of like we used to and tried to bring it, it would just get stuck.
I think that you should. I think Sawyer's old enough now where you send him out there under the tree and just shake the base of it, and then it can fall on him. Get him all.
Yeah, he'd probably love it. Yeah, he'd probably fucking love it.
My WTF Wednesday, a couple things, not necessarily that happened to me, but what I saw this week. So at my gym, I don't go to the nicest gym anymore. I used to be a member at Lifetime, and I didn't want to pay $300 a month. So now I'm at LA Fitness, which is a nice, I don't even know, it's either $25 or $30 a month. Gets the job done. But you see weirder shit there for sure. So there's a group of 4 dudes almost every day, definitely retired because it's middle of the day when I go. They do a samurai class, like, and they put it on themselves. They're in the big like class like workout room with fucking knives out, like and they're doing all the work, like the sliding back and forth and and there is it's 3 Asian dudes and then it's 1 white dude. Like this, how out of place you got to feel just being that 1 white dude in samurai class. And then they do like meditation and they do this whole thing. And I'm just like, I go in there to do like core stuff, like planks and, act like I'm trying to do sit-ups or something, look at my phone. But I feel bad. Like I'm messing up their Tai Chi or their Zen by walking.
Yeah, their vibe. Yeah. You're fucking their vibe up by walking in there and doing a couple of fake sit-ups.
Yeah, I'm like in the middle of Shogun, and there's fucking if you know what that show is, and I'm just like with my AirPods on, rolling in there with my hoodie, like, hey boys, can I come get some reps in? Like, maybe I should ask them one time if they've got an extra samurai sword laying around I could partake. Because I bet, honestly, I thought, I was like, they probably have really good like peace of mind and they're really focused and really centered in the moment, which I never am. So I'm like, maybe, I'm almost considering it. Then my other WTF Wednesday, and just got to get your opinion on this real quick. we had a friend that used to be a member at Spring Valley, and now their son plays football at Valor Christian. And he, I don't know how else to put this. His dad posted a picture of him on Facebook, and he's got like half a sleeve of tattoos. And then I look and I'm like, how old is this kid? He's a sophomore in high school. I just like, imagine taking a kid that can't get behind the wheel to get tattoos like that blows my mind, unless they held him back a year. I don't know, like for athletics, which people are now doing. I also heard a story that people are like legally getting divorced so their kid can go to a different school in Colorado for athletics. Like,
yeah.
But the tattoo thing, like I could not picture you taking your son to get a tattoo at like 14 years old. That's a bridge too far for me.
No, I think when people started getting tattoos in our high school, it was like they were seniors or 17 or 18, and they finally like got their first one, and it was like, oh fuck, that's the coolest thing ever.
Barbed wire around the arm.
Barbed wire, their full name across their back, so that kind of shit, the wrestler shit.
The wrestling team, yeah.
But yeah, I know 14, 15 is way too young for that, in my opinion, especially like a full sleeve. Like if you want to get a little, whatever. Sawyer's got a tattoo right now. I put a little Rocky on him, a little washable tattoo on his arm that's still there.
I did see that. That was swaggy.
But yeah, like the 14, 15, that's definitely a WTF. Like,
yeah, he's a high school class of 2027, and he's got more tattoos than I do. I'm like, brother, you're maybe just turned 16. That's a bridge too far. I'm sorry, and maybe it makes me sound like a boomer, and you were actually a kid that wanted tats very early. Like you wanted them when you were a little kid. You were a little hood rat.
A little mini Marshall Mathers.
Yeah, you did like Eminem. Well, we can end it there. There was just a few things that I wanted to get off my chest.
No, I dig it. We appreciate you guys all tuning in to Big Drive Energy. Follow us on all the socials at Big Drive Energy Golf on Instagram, Big Drive Energy on TikTok, and the X, the Everything app. I'm going to go shovel some more snow, third shovel of the day, and maybe get my sidewalks fully clear because it's finally stopped apparently. So I'm going to go do that.
Good neighbor. You're just a good neighbor. Most people don't do that shit.
Just a good neighbor. And I loved living on a corner until I have to shovel. Now I've realized how much the ass that is.
You do have a lot of sidewalk real estate.
That's 3 cheeks on the same ass shoveling this whole corner. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy your first weekend in December, the Hero World Challenge, lots of NFL football, your fantasy championships, or your last week of regular season, I should say. Good luck to everybody getting in the playoffs. We'll be back to talk to you next week on Big Drive Energy. Peace.